Hello everybody, it is Wednesday, the 11th of October. Now I want to talk about a few things. It's what I said in my video before, what I wanted to think about, and it's becoming very clear to me when Jesus said what is flesh and what is spirit. Yeah? And not to be carnally minded. I want to talk about that. And then really in the end, there was another question that I heard in the video, and I'm hearing it over and over again. Who was the Father of Jesus? Asked in the name of the Father. Who or what is the Father? Ask in my name. Well, obviously Paul goes around saying it is in the name of Jesus. But that is not the name of the Spirit. That is the name of the flesh. Or was the name of the flesh. So, people are going around. I tell you something, they're using labels. I tell you that is written in code. That whole book is written in code, and they have created labels. And they have created different levels of being, can you say occulted? Hidden, where the meaning is hidden. Some of the images are associations where you liken something onto something that you know in this world, like a snake, a woman, a man in the garden. Again, if you are carnally minded, you think they are literally a man, a woman, and a snake. And that is knowing solely knowing according what you know in this world, and not seeing the Spirit. Because the Spirit has no form. That is why they need to give it a form. They need to liken it onto something. But that is one level of hiding it, the truth. But that is done by association. Yeah, they associated something that was. Spirit is either a thought or a feeling. Yeah? So they liken something onto something they knew in this world by association. Now that is actually not a very deep level of hiding something, because it was done by a human being. Those associations were done by a human being, and a human being, if it thought about it, yeah, would get the meaning out of the knowledge of itself. It could make the same associations. Some of them are cultural, obviously, then that would add another level of difficulty if you're not in that culture, in that thinking, to see what associations they would make. But it can be done. The next level of hiding something is a label. Yeah? And here is, and it is like setting a password on your laptop. What's been done? You can set a password that is done by association. That is something that's important to you. It could be a date or a word associated with something that you're into, like a game or something like that, or a story. Now, if somebody knows you, they could probably get into your laptop. Probably would take them a few tries, but they can do it. If somebody gains knowledge of you, gathers knowledge about you, to hack, so to speak, your computer, they could probably find that password after a while. Now, if you set a random password, completely random, not associated with anything, that is a higher level of security. And that is when you create a label in that book. And that is a name, a random name. Like Satan, like Beelzebub, like Lucifer, like God itself. God is a word. That is a high level security password. What is the meaning of that? And then another level of security, of hiding, the meaning of something would be gematria. Yeah? If you make something into a number, let's say like 666, yeah? That is a high level. Again, that cannot be derived at by feeling, for starters. You can have no knowledge of that, or feeling what the meaning of that is. It is obviously said by the rational mind. Numbers are said by the rational mind. If you have a number in the gematria like 666, you could riddle it down to 3 times 6, 18, and then you could riddle it down to 9. Yeah? And if you have 9, then you're looking at Fort Knox. Yeah, I mean, how on earth would anybody get into that meaning? And then you are at a point that if you are in a group, let's say, that is given knowledge to each other, they could use those labels and speak to each other, only them knowing the meaning. Because even if you have created a label like Lucifer, or a word like God, yeah, the only way somebody else could get into that knowledge of the meaning of that word is if you gave it to them. So you are then in possession of the knowledge, and the only way somebody else could get that is if you give it to them. Of course, Jesus taught you something else, something that you should consider, and that is that you can see them by their fruit. Yeah? So if you don't have the meaning of the word God, and you're not one of the insiders to whom it has been revealed, in the story, if you see what God does and what he works, you can see what he is. So you can know it by its fruit, even though the meaning is hidden in the word, you can see it in the outcome. So you don't know God from the beginning, but when he starts working in this world, you can see what he is. And you have knowledge of it because you are the one that is experiencing the power of the Spirit and what it works in this world, and by that you will know it. So again, carnal mind means really that you're looking at that story and you think there was a real snake, there was a real woman, there was a real man. And you are not on the level of spirit, you're not thinking on the level of spirit, but you're thinking carnally in the solid world. And that is the first mistake. And again, many Christians do that. Now, thinking spiritually, again, first thing you need to think is that is a label, or that's an association. It is speaking about something that has no form. And then again, if you think in the duality, then it's either a thought or an emotion, or the two coming together to create an outcome. Intention, that is the highest level, intention. Now, okay, I think I leave Jesus to the end, what he actually was or what he became. But I have spoken about God as being an intention, yeah? I have spoken about sons of God, the ways of God, the way in which a knowledge is used, with which intention a knowledge is used. That's the sons. Angels. Angels are messengers. They're guides and they're messengers. And in the end, yes, they can work something by themselves when their energy transforms in this world. Again, a messenger, just an emotion on which a message is placed. Yeah, like the emotion of compassion and the message that anything is possible, as that knowledge was given on that, and that was an angel. Yeah, and that was what somebody saw fit to call Lucifer. Again, creating a label in which the meaning, the knowledge is hidden in that label. And I dare say there were some at that time that came together and spoke about Lucifer, but not talking about a being that is outside of it. They're not beings. Anything that is spirit is not a being. A being is that receives of the spirit and that produces the spirit. Yeah? And the spirit cannot exist unless it's going through a being. It cannot exist of its own. So then angels, this way of communication that is spiritual, that is not done by words. Communicating in the spirit, being in the spirit and communicating in the spirit. John did. He went into the spirit and he communicated on a different level. So then anything that has life, that has a form, receives of and gives of its spirit. So if we're saying there is an angel, in the Bible it says there's an angel sitting on every blade of grass. And grass is a form of life. Yeah? It is not that God has placed the angel on, it's a God that's placing angels on every blade of grass. They are producing that angel. The grass is life that has its own spirit, so to speak. And it is more than just the physical form that you can see, but it gives off a knowledge of itself that is spiritual. And that is that angel that's sitting on top of it's sending out a message, so to speak, about itself, about what is contained in that solid form. And that is the angel that is sitting. But it is produced by the grass itself. It's not placed there by something else. So, now comes, who is the father of Jesus? Let's talk about this for a minute. Or what did he become? And here is really seeing that we're no longer talking psychology here. We are going beyond psychology, because saying that these are forces that can actually impact on reality and change reality. Yeah, then you are coming to the point where you know you can walk on water. Because you don't only know the spirit, you believe the power thereof. That's the point we really need to get to. But first of all, we need to know the source. Where is it coming from? Source is us. Let me just say one more thing, and that is, like, if you were really of a carnal mind, yeah? It still makes me giggle, that pastor that read the passage where he says, your sons will marry you. Yeah? And I say he stumbled over that until by the fourth time he could say it fluently. No more doubt. He just accepted that it's so. But again, if you were of a carnal mind, if you want to be carnal about anything, everything in this book, saying that is just what it is, it's speaking about solid form, well, then you have to be carnal about that. Yeah? So when he says, your sons will marry you, what are we talking about? Yeah? Full on incest? And it's all right because it's going to be sanctioned by God? That is the problem. And no, obviously it doesn't talk about that. It doesn't say full on incest, and God will say it's all right. Right, so again, what happened in the New Testament? And who is the Father? If we're talking, and again we're talking God is a label that hides a truth, a meaning. Yeah? It is like a password that you need to crack to get into the true meaning, the spiritual meaning, the higher meaning. And if you have God as a man, as a being, then you're still carnal. And in that Bible, in that story, the word God is used, God, Father, as far as I can see, it could have about 4 different meanings. And again, you would see it by the fruit. More by the fruit than anything else. Father that gives, by which everything is created through, and without it nothing is created. That is the all. That is the field, whatever the matrix, whatever you want to call it. And that does not exist in itself, only through the forms that it creates is it being known. The matrix makes itself known through you. You are a possibility that was contained in it and that is now known. And you cannot know it in any other way. And to try to know it in any other way will lead to insanity. You will just have to accept. There's one part of all of this where you will have just to accept it's there. And you have to believe. Because there is no other way of knowing it other than knowing it in the forms. So that's the highest level. Then we come down to God's, and that is the level of intentions. And then we are in being. We're talking about beings. Yeah? And then we should talk about equality. Yeah? There is no being that has the right to rule over you because it has no more knowledge of you or than you, or whatever way. It does not give it the right to rule over you. Knowledge was not given to rule over you. Again, that's something Jesus said. Knowledge is not given to rule over. So if there's a being that uses its knowledge to rule over you, it's doing wrong. So we're talking level of intention, and there were 2 intentions in that book. There were 2 gods on that level, and they were both being. Yeah? We're no longer talking all. Being with its own, every being was its own intention. Now, there is that being that has the intention to rule over everything. And then there is that other being which is this world. God is manifest in this world. The God of the world is manifest in this world. He is this world. And that intention is that we should continuously give to one another. That is his commandment. Continuously love each other like I love you. Like this world loves you. So there are the 2 intentions. And again, what did Jesus become the image of? He became the image of a spirit, the fullness of the image of a spirit. Did he become the fullness of the intention? Did he become a God even? No, he did not. He was not the image of a God. He was the image of an angel, and he was the image of Lucifer. He became the image of Lucifer. Yeah? So, and that is, again, as I said before, he became one thought or one desire to serve, one emotion, compassion. And that is no longer a human being because we are made of different things, different desires, different emotions. But that is Lucifer. That was the messenger that came. And Jesus became the living image of that messenger. Which, again, if you believe on the Spirit, if you believe the Spirit can work something then that story should tell me a human being can do that. Yeah? If you to believe those stories are real, first of all you have to go onto the level of spirit, because in the flesh, obviously, you cannot change. You cannot just shift your form. You cannot just heal. So you need to go and believe on the level of spirit. Again, you need to get out of the carnal. And then believe that that has actually the power to work on matter and change matter. So then, yes, if you believe on the level of spirit, which you must, or you're going nowhere, and then say that is possible, a human being can work that on itself, you can change yourself. And then the next step is that we really must take is, just because you can doesn't mean you should. It is the will of God and it must be done. Yes, well, it was most likely the will of the intention that wanted to rule over this. It was his will. And he showed Jesus the way. There was a connection there, and he was shown the way to become that being through working it through the Spirit and creating a new reality himself as a new reality. But what does it serve? Well, it definitely serves that kingdom, because if you're just in compassion, you're all giving, first of all, you're no longer in sound mind, because your mind, again, carnal mind, knowledge, is made up of several things. You get lots of information, you have lots of emotions. That is a way of knowing as well. The two come together. You have a messenger, you have an angel that will tell you something. So you're becoming extremely limited in what you can know, and then you can be ruled over. So no, that was, as I said over and over again, the way of the cross was not the way. That's a way of making yourself into a complete idiot that can be ruled over. And therefore, should we go that way? We can. Obviously, we can. If you believe that story, it did happen, then yes, we can. We can become that. Should we become that? I would say no. Well, in my opinion, no. Absolutely not. But then we come to the point in the Bible, as I said, your own sons will marry you. You will go according to the ways of man, according to the ways of humanity, which is, again, informed by the intention of this world that rules over it. According to the, ask in the name of the Father, which is the intention of this world, should be the intention of this world. I don't know which name Jesus asked in, to be quite honest. But it should be the intention of this world. The name of the Father. And then the angels, the knowledge, good, bad, whether there is danger, whether you should go that way. See, fear, danger means don't go there. It says, you go on a path, you feel danger. It says, if it wants to save you, if it wants to have life, if it is in the name of life, then it would probably say, veer from that path, go there. And then if it feels peaceful, if it feels all right, go on that path. If you feel sadness says there is loss at the end of, if you go on that way, there is loss at the end of that path. Again, don't go there. And then your angels, the angels will serve you. And that's what it says in the Bible. The angels will serve you. But then you need to understand what it is you're doing. First of all, you need to give yourself the right to be. That in itself is a problem at the moment. Yeah, you only exist to serve something else. No, you have the right to be. And you are real. That's the next thing. We're even being told we're not even real. I mean, what are we even talking about then? We're not real. Nothing matters. Say it matters. Say it's real. Believe on the level of spirit. Start to understand what those words actually mean, and see it inside of yourself, and see yourself as a spiritual being, something that exerts and receives of spirit. And then the angels will serve you. Anyway, again, that was a lot this morning. I'll leave it at that for now. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.